Hi and welcome to another Flutter tutorial, and today we're going to look into pagination. Let's consider the following application. So here we have our buyers tab, which consists of a list of items, fishes, catches from the seller. So what you have here is the simple pagination, which consists of page number at the bottom of the list. So when user load the page, for example, when we move from here to here, back to buyers tab, here we can see pages at the bottom where we have 3 pages and there are 10 items in each page. So since there are 26 items in the database in total, so 10 items per page will be divided into 3 pages, and each page consists of 10 items. And the first item, 10, the first page consists of 10. The second page also consists of 10 items. And the last page consists of only 6 items. So this is a simple pagination methods. So today we're going to look into that and how to implement in the application. The first thing that we need to do, we need to update our backend so that the backend will only load based on um, the page number. So here, basically the backend for the load cache. So load cache.php basically handle the load of the items in this page. So here we can see that the load caches.php has been updated with a few additional data that is required for pagination to work. So here you can see that the variable set for result per page, which allow for the backend to determine the page size number. So here we set to 10 because we want to load 10 items per page. If you want to load 5 items per page, we can just set 5 items result per page variable. The if statement here, this is where additional requirement needed for the application to work, which require page number or selected page number. So the selected page number will comes from the Flutter application. So by default, if the page number is given, so the page number variable will be assigned to the post array. So if you use post array here, so you can just assign to post array. And then if there's no page number given, or if the page number is not set, the page number will always start at page number 1. Then we need to be able to get a page first result or the index that we want to load, where if it is a first page number, so the page number will be, or the index number will be starting from index 0. But if page number 2, for example, that you want to load, the page number 2 will minus 1, we get 1 and times page per result, which is 10. So we're going to initiate the first index number that we're going to query is starting from index number 10. And then here down here, this is just for the use of for card purposes, but we're not going to use this in pagination. The if statement here, this is basically to select to build the selection based on the user ID, based on the search parameter, and based on if you want to load everything. So we just load from here. So this is just a selection based on the user is set criteria. But the important part for pagination to work is here. So this is basically, sorry, here, this section here. This section here is for other purposes, for card, total card number here. But to be able to get pagination, we need first to retrieve all the result based on the initial query, because here we need to execute twice SQL query. The first query basically to get the total number of data from the database. So any of the SQL here will be contributing to that. And here basically the oh yeah, sorry, this is for card. This section is for card, not this section. This section, this is only for pagination. Right, so this part here for pagination, this part here for getting the card information, how many data that are already available in the card. But we're going to come back to this later on. But this is the part for pagination, because I'm just going to talk about pagination. So I forgot about this card system. This is only for card when we are dealing with card system later on, which contribute to this number of item in the card. But for pagination, this is where we need to execute the first SQL. So the first SQL here just to get the number of result here, which is at the moment we have 26 data from database, or based on the query selected query that we choose from SQL from the if statement here. So the first thing that we need to get is number of results. So we need to know how many data available based on that particular query. So we get from number of result. And then we need to get number of page. So to get number of page, the number of result basically divide by number of page, and we get the ceiling. We use ceiling function to get number of page. For example, like at the moment we have 26 data. 26 divided by 10, so you got 2.6. By using ceiling, it will always return ceiling number of any decimal value. So 2.6 means 3, or anything beyond above 2 will automatically set to 3. That's basically written as a number of page. And then finally, once we have all the required information, then we rebuild the SQL with this additional SQL statement, which will use limit statement. Limit index first result, and then number result per page, which is if this is page number 2, it will start with index, I believe index 9, and then increment by 10. So that's basically the SQL that we are building here, because we just want to load 10 items from that particular page. And then the rest is just basically the same with the with the load data. We build our array, we build our JSON data. But here there are additional array that I pass back to application, which is required for the application. First, to get number of page, so I pass back number of page data, and second, number of result. This section is only for card. We're going to look into card later. But if you just want to implement pagination, this is basically more than enough. All right, so this is basically on the back end side. So the back end basically will rebuild SQL twice. The first time is just basically to get all the data, to determine number of pages, and then also where to start load the data by using the limit statement here. And then finally return back the response through the array, so that our application here will receive all the information required to be able to build this pagination list number button at the bottom, and also to display total number of data found based on that particular query. So that's on the back end side. On the application side, on the Flutter side, so we need to look at the buyer tab screen. So the buyer tab screen will require a few updates to implement bottom pagination here. The first thing that we need is this number of page, by default set to 1. The current selected page is set to 1 also, and number of result determined set to 0 initially. All right, so now we have all the value. We need to go to our PHP, which actually load catches. But here our load catches PHP will require one additional data, which is the page number. Okay, the page number that we need to send to load catches is based on the selected page number. So the page number to string, where we selected based on this, pass to the load catches.php, and the load catches will process that information and return the data back to the application. And when we receive the return data, so we need to retrieve number of page, which we assign to number of page variable, and then retrieve number of result, where we assign to number of result variable. This is very important to be able to build our widget tree at the bottom down here. So once we get that number, we get that information, next we can build this page number list. So the page number list implemented through this size box. So the size box actually at the bottom of the list. So this, you can see the list expanded there. So it's basically right in its own size box or in its own container, and built through list view builder, which set the scroll direction to horizontal, so that we can get horizontal view axis. The list view here set the item count by using number of page. So we have 3, so we use item count 3 for this. And the item builder here will determine or will be using text button. So each of these is text button, and the text button here implement the current page, and then also the index or the number of pages at the bottom here, because index start with 0, so we need to add 1 to the label or to the text value here. And then we set the color here based on the if statement, because we want to base on the current page selected. So the current page selected, we use current page -1, which is based on equal index, and set the color to red. If anything that we selected, that text number will automatically set to red. So that's what this means. And then the list view builder will automatically build this list based on the number of page written. All right, so that's basically for the list view text button. And the text button, each of the text button automatically implement again load catches and pass index +1 as the selected page. Okay, so always remember, on index always start from 0. So when we +1, which means that's basically the selected page number that we want to look for. All right, so that's basically for pagination. So as we can see here, let's try to change the page number to, let's say, set to 5 only. So let's see, the changes that we have. So if we set the page number to 5, as we can see, the number of page at the bottom down here grew to 6. Okay, because now we need to divide 26 divided by 5, and that will basically return paging or page number at the bottom here, and that's basically determine how big the page number that we want it to be. So let's say we set to 4. So you can see now the page number at the bottom will allow user to scroll, enable the scrolling effect, and then allow for the application to or user to access different page number. And definitely the number of items basically will determine the page number. So if you have too many items in your list, you might end up with a lot of paging. So you can do, or you can automatically set the result page by getting, or by using the number of item that we retrieve from database, from here, number of result. So if the number of result like too many, so you can determine number of page or result per page that's suitable for showing all the data. So that's basically the idea how pagination works in this case. Okay, so let me set back to 10 so that you can get the right information. Okay, so now that's how pagination works, and and there are another method of pagination, which is you can use a scroll controller to automatically load the next data. Okay, so which means that, for example, if we scroll and it reach at the bottom of the page, so what we have now is basically the next page. We can just ask for the application to load next page, and then that's allow us to dynamically load data based on scroll action. But here I use a bottom pagination because you can move from one page to the other page without having to scroll all the data if the data is way too many to be loaded. All right, so that's pagination in a nutshell. It's quite easy to implement, and you can get the codes from my GitHub. And then you can give it a try to implement in your application and have fun with it. All right, so that's all for pagination. I'll see you in next video. Bye bye.